Welcome to the channel, boys and girls. If you're new, I'm Matt. Let's go ahead and continue working on the 1.8 turbo all-wheel drive Chevy Cruze project, which we put 525 horsepower down to the wheels.
What? Whoa! 524 horsepower and not a single miss.
And we're wrapping up the all-wheel drive conversion. One of the things we need to address is the rear end. We've had an issue where an axle popped out, made the rear just a little wider than it needs to be. And this side in particular has a little bit of camber on the inside. Here is our axle that popped out of the cup. We do have spacers to kind of help with that. We might need to make some wider spacers, but this is a solid beam or a torsion beam setup, which we made a custom torsion beam, which is really no longer a torsion beam. However, after things have settled, this wheel is slightly tilted in just a little bit. I initially suspected maybe this bent a little bit, but using a straight edge of sorts, it doesn't appear to be bent on either side. So maybe it moved when I welded it up, who knows. But what I'm thinking is, since this is offset a little too much to this side, we got plenty of space here, and it's a little snug on that side. Thinking what we'll do is we'll just cut it right here. We'll narrow it as much as we need to, effectively moving this over a little bit. Just to kind of confirm, we're looking at 1 degree of angle there. On this side, 1 degree here. So I need to drop this entire suspension down. In order to do that, we'll have to drop our rear differential by unbolting our axles, our drive shaft going all the way to our transfer case, get all that out the way, move our tires, our shocks, this whole thing will just drop down. Then we can cut it, figure out a way to jig everything up so we got our wheels at the angles we want them to. You can see where these trailing arms mount up. Our adjustment is pushed all the way outwards. Same thing on this other side. It's all the way out. So we just need to pull everything in just a touch. So I'm gonna get after removing these wheels, dropping that rear differential, and then we'll take it from there, narrowing the rear end, fixing this issue. Let's get after it. Now I need to get these brake calipers out of the way. Ow, fuck. Oh, ooh, my head. Because you have a mid-rise lift doesn't mean you're still not going to work on the floor, but at least it's higher up. You know what I mean? Alright. See if we can get this out without it falling on my head. Whoop. Oh, snap. Come on. Uh-oh. Myself in a bind here. Fun times. Fun times. All right, let's get these shock bolts out. There we go. Forgetting about all these damn cables. There we go. All right, we got all the bolts out aside from two that's holding everything in here. Let's lower this thing down, pull it out, and get some work done. There we go. We got the rear out of the car, and I put my little plates on it that I used last time. I just, if you recall, ran a pole straight through the center of these two that threaded in, but I'm going to try a little bit different of an approach this time. That pole that's on the ground right over there, it's not exactly straight. I rolled it and it's got a little bit of a wobble to it. So looking at this thing as it sits, we got it fairly level. So it says 1.1 degrees, and we just move this guy right on over here. We're right on the mark. I wanted this 1 degree in, 1 degree of camber. Now if we take this, move it over here, you can see we're out by 3.3 degrees pretty much. Yeah, we're about 3 degrees in this way. So let's go ahead and fix that. So we're just going to cut this right where these welds are at. I think over here, I'm going to cut everything aside from the top. Actually might cut in a little bit. We'll cut the sides and the bottom so we can tweak this where it needs to be. But we need to lop off, I don't know, maybe an inch on this side over here. I got how much we need cut off in order to center this thing. Seeing as the bolts were maxed out on both sides, I just took the difference in between over there and just kind of divided that in half. So I should put us right in the middle. We'll fit everything up into the car. See where we're at with that gap. I don't want to take off too much, but that's what my calculations are saying. Doesn't seem like a whole lot, but it is what it is. So we'll cut that off, put it in the car, do a tack on the side so we can still kind of angle things. Make sure our angles are cool, tack it up pretty well, take it out of the car, weld it up, call it a day. Let's do this. Making progress here. Got this thing bolted in, and we need to trim just a little more, maybe about 3/8 of an inch. So I'm going to pull this side back out, do a little more trimming. Let's go. All right, got ourselves a little tack up there. Now we need to tack this side. We're pretty close. Give it a moment to rest. As long as it's up. There we go. There we are. Just put a little weight on it. We got 1 degree of hammer in like this. So now, just need to tack it. Another day plugging away at the project. Last night I got everything all tacked up, got my angles exactly where I want them. We have the rear end out of the car. Now we just need to weld it up, and then we'll address some other issues while this thing is out, such as setting the pinion angle for our rear diff. We do have about 4 to 5 degrees difference. Ideally it would be more like 2 to 1. So we need to remove this mounting plate right here, shorten it up some, but let's go ahead and tackle this first, and then we'll move on. We got the rear end all tackled, we got it all welded up, but there's something else that I want to do to add just a little bit more rigidity to it. And here's my idea. You'll have to excuse that morning sun, but I'm thinking to add a little bit more rigidity here in this joint. We'll just add some simple gussets. I think that will help stiffen this up, keep things from moving up under its own power and weight. So I traced this template off 4 times. We'll just go ahead, cut these things out. This is 1/8 inch thick steel. So I'm gonna get after cutting that out. We'll weld it in, and we'll paint some of these areas that we just welded, and these gussets, it's mild steel, so we'll mask things off, throw a little paint on it. And then we'll move on to tackling the pinion angle, or the angle of the differential in the back of the car. All right, let's get some more work done. Okay. I got the gussets all welded in and went ahead and just took care of that off camera. So this should help provide a little extra strength, keeping these things from the camber changing up just with gravity, power. They get a little more rigid. Welds came out, you know, decent for my abilities. You know, I'm still not dime stack Matt, but anyhow, welded this up. So now I'm going to mask this off because this is mild steel here. This tubing right here is mild steel. We'll leave this stainless stuff exposed, but I just want to mask it with some masking tape, paint it up, and then we'll move on to the front of the differential mount. Just that. Got it all painted, masking tape off. And it came out pretty stellar. Close the garage real quick. You can see where I cleaned the metal up. But we got it all nice and painted. Should keep those mild steel parts from rusting up. Give it a little extra support. All right, let's see if we can remove this thing. Without hurting ourselves. Well, we got it out and cleaned up some of those welds the best that I can. Here is that support. Well, on the other side, way over there, we have 5 degrees pointing down. So this guy needs to be close to 5 degrees pointing up. Settle for 4. And look at this. We're right up on that beam, so I think what I'm going to do is just plate this whole area, drill a hole for a nut, and then we can just shim it from there. Which is a good thing, because now we're kind of moving this thing further away from the ground, moving all this up, which will put our axle angles in a better position. Alright, I made a 1/8 inch steel reinforcement plate, welded a nut. This is where our differential will bolt up. It'll help reinforce that beam under the car. So now I'm going to crawl under the car, put this in there, raise up the diff, position it, tack weld it in. We'll fully weld this thing up, paint it, and we'll be done with this part. Then we'll toss the rear end back in. Who knows, maybe take it for a test drive. Let's go. It's another day working on this little hot rod here, and boys and girls, we got our reinforcement plate welded up where our bolt goes into. Just because of the angle of the rear diff, the back part of this plate was raised a little bit, and I decided to go ahead and extend that out just a little bit, get a little bit closer towards this bend here. I'm definitely still not the greatest at welding overhead, but I TIG welded this all up. I'm pretty happy with how it came out. I did punch through here a little bit, in which we start getting into the undercoating of this chassis. Even though I did grind all the paint and stuff away, couldn't help but to get a couple little imperfections here and there, but this is welded up pretty damn solid, if I do say so myself. Very confident in how it's welded in there. So now, I'm going to toss a light coat of some self-etching primer and paint on there, just to keep it from rusting up. And we'll throw everything back in the car. But there's one other thing I need to do after this. But let's get after it. We got everything all nice and painted. Looks good to me. Now I'm going to go ahead and throw this rear end back in the car, put it back together. It's another day working on this little hot rod here. The goal for today, we got the rear end in. But the goal for today is, look at that, those angles look much better, but one of the issues is, I think these axles are different lengths. I'm gonna try that out, so I'm going to swap these out. But also, we cracked our boot up here, so we'll take care of that, put a new boot on it, and we'll see if these axles are indeed different lengths. Since we've narrowed the rear end a little bit, everything does seem to fit up a little better, but I think we can get it just that much better so we don't have the issue anymore. So let's get after it. We got the rear all finished up, back in the car, everything torqued to spec, aside from the lug nuts and the CV axle bolt, but we'll do that once the car is on the ground, and there's something else. But we got her all situated, a new boot on this axle over here. You can see just how much happier this axle is. I still feel like I need to shove the entire rear end to the right, because if we look at the pads there, you can see there's a little more wiggle room. Somewhat tight on this side, so we can definitely shove it if we can. I have all my bolts to the trailing arms loose for now. Everything's back in. The diff is at the correct angle now. Everything's still clear just fine. I did end up lowering the rear end by about 1.25 inches. Just a little bit more to help clear the differential. So let's go ahead and put it on the ground, see if we can't wiggle that rear end that away a little bit. And then we'll tighten everything up and take it for a spin. How's that sound? Let's go. While she's back on the ground, let's go ahead and take her for a little bit of a spin. I'll need to do some light throttle stuff first, just to make sure we're cool with the CV axles. We're kind of at the ragged edge. Seems like on the driver's side CV axle, I might have to make another spacer, send it over to be machined in order to get it where it needs to be. The passenger side is A-okay. So let's go ahead and test it a little bit, shall we? Let's go. Right down the street real quick. I am just about out of gas, so we at least listen for weird noises, stuff like that. Man, it's been a while since I've driven this car in its current state. It drives a lot different. Like a race car. Let's see what's up with our fuel situation. So far, so good. Well, it doesn't seem like anything super crazy is going on. So I think we'll venture out a little further. Give her a slight tug. See what it's like. the exhaust underneath the car, it does drone quite a bit, so. Plan is to route that exhaust out the bumper. Switch this differential over. Ah, shit. Alright, we're gonna have to circle back and do this later, school time. Well, we don't have any weird noises going on. We don't have any weird bindings. The only current issue is that welded front diff. Once we turn it up, the thing wants to lock up. Naturally, not having a differential that slips at all, the front steering is it just kind of binds up a little bit. So we'll address that with our other differential with our limited slip conversion kit. I think that will make the car that much happier, easier to drive, more fun to drive. I want to shoot the exhaust out of the bumper somewhere in this area, just so I don't get as much drone noise. Because as it stands, it's just shooting down right there underneath the car. We still need to move the seat up forward a little bit. After that, we'll take it out to the track. It's starting to slowly cool down here in Houston. Just still waiting on some better days. I think this coming October, we'll do a lot more also this winter, because then I don't mind. I'd rather be cold than sweating my balls off. You know what I mean? And then one of the last things to address is really just the appearance of the car. Over the years, it's just kind of looks like doo-doo, in my opinion. Not as good. Need to do something about a wheel and tire situation, repaint this front bumper, clear this hood, get rid of this imperfection right here in this carbon fiber hood. And then fix the roof that somebody jumped on when I was kind of at home licking my wounds, staying with my mom after everything that went on. Address this rear tint situation, because that just looks like caca. I mean, the paint's still in overall pretty good shape, aside from the garbage man tearing up my bumper right there a little bit. But I'm happy with the stance of the car. You'll have to excuse this car right here. I'll have to talk about that later. Gonna need a new rear bumper. This thing's kind of blown out. But that's going to just about do it for this episode, really. It took almost 2 weeks to do all this work. So now we just need to dig in, remove the differential out of this car, put in the open differential, put in that LSD conversion kit, see how that works out for us. It'll be time to rock and roll. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up, give it a like, share, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and boys and girls, we'll see you in the next one. Peace out. Peace out.